right. We are continuing with our religious hard talk. We are in episode number 2 and we are dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. So far we have looked at the medical significance of the coronavirus. We've also defined what the coronavirus is. And we've also looked at why we call it a pandemic and why are we not calling it an endemic, right? Epidemic, I'm sorry. Why are we calling it a pandemic and not an epidemic? We've also looked at the areas that are mostly affected by the coronavirus. The source of this coronavirus, where is it coming from and how is it communicated from person to person. And we've also looked at the practical tools as to how we can deal with this coronavirus as individuals, as families, as people that are working in corporate spaces, even as churches, how we can deal with the coronavirus. And we've also looked at past experiences, that is from the Spanish flu that broke out in 1918 that affected, in fact it killed 30 million people. And according to statistics, 300,000 South Africans were killed by the Spanish flu in 1918. That was at the fall of World War I. So now we are now looking at the second aspect of our discussion, which is the economic significance of the coronavirus. I still have my guests here, Brother Zux Zamela and Brother Mike Melatu. They are going to assist us in answering these questions that relate to the economic significance of the coronavirus. And
maybe before that, the Spanish flu actually killed about 50 to 100 million people. 50 to 100 million people. I was putting an I was underestimating the significance of the virus. I said 30 million. 50 to 100 million people were killed by the Spanish flu. That's a significant number. And then I think it's very wise, or it's very important for us to look at, to really study what happened at the time so that we can best effectively deal with the situation that is facing us as a world right now. All right, now we're going to look at the economic significance of the coronavirus. I'm sure you are aware that the world is split into 3 types of economies. There's what we call undeveloped economies or undeveloped countries, right? And there's also what we call developing economies. And lastly, we have developed countries. China is a developing country or a developed country? It's a developed country. I forget what the classification of it is, but I know it's probably a developed country. I think,
yeah,
it's a power, it's a world power effect.
Basically, to classify developing from developed, the tools they use to determine the economic status of a country. One of the things they look at is number 1, the rate of unemployment and employment, and they also look at the poverty levels. They look at services that are being rendered to the people, and they also look at the GDP. Yeah, so that's what they look at. Now, last time I checked, China is a developed country.
Yeah, it's a power actually. It should be a developed country.
It's a developed country, and it's only competing with America in terms of economy-wise. Yeah. America is number 1, it's the biggest economy in the whole world. China is number 2, and the rest is following after those 2 countries. So South Africa is a developing country, if you are aware. I think we are aware of that. It's a developing country. So now what I want us to look at is the economic significance of this coronavirus on the developed countries. Let's start with that one. On the developed countries, China is a developed country. Germany is a developed country. Italy is a developed country. USA is a developed country. And it seems as if they are suffering the most. So I want us to look at the economic significance. How is it affecting their currency? How is it affecting employment in those countries? And any other issues that you can think of just to discuss under that.
So I think there are similarities in both developing and developed countries in the way in which they are affected by this. But in order to attempt to answer, let's first just define an economy, like a little bit how an economy actually works. In order for the wheels of an economy to keep moving, there are a number of things that need to be in place. There must be products that are being produced, services that are being provided, and then there must be people who buy those products, and there must be people who use those services, both domestically and then also in terms of other countries buying products from this country and using services from this country. And then of course this country also buying, so this is the basis of an economy. Product services being produced and someone consuming those products and services. So the moment that something comes along that stops or slows down the production of products or or services being provided, that then means that the wheels of economy are then slowed down, which then means there are less things that are being produced, less services that are being provided, especially services that involve, that exist in the physical realm. Online sort of like services are slightly less impacted, but services that require people, for instance, going into factories and doing things and all those sort of things, the moment that there's something that says people should not be going out and doing whatever, people should be staying home, then immediately that means productivity will go down. And then, even in cases whereby, for instance, we're told that airports are being, basically, travel is being restricted, that immediately means that all people who are, like airlines are going to be affected because there are less people who are booking flights and all of that. So that means that both developed, so I'm also going to answer in the developing countries as well as far as this is concerned, both developed and developing countries, because people upon which the economy is, because it's people who are doing things well, we are not, even in developed countries, automation is not at a stage whereby robots are like doing everything and the economy no longer relies on people. The economy is still heavily reliant on people, and since people now, in order to stop the virus from spreading, are being told to stay home, less production, less consumption, but more so on the production side of things. Therefore, that means that the country's economies are therefore going to be impacted. It goes without saying. So the trend is that the more a country is impacted by this, the less production or productivity is going to take place, the more its economy is going to be, hit. For instance, when you looked at, if you were to look at the dollar to euro exchange rate, Europe has been hit the most at this moment in time compared to the US. The US is going up there, but Europe has been hit the most. So you find that the euro, for instance, is doing poorly than the dollar at this moment in time. It may change because, these things fluctuate over time, but that's an indication that shows that as a country is impacted the most, whether developing or developed, the more a country is impacted, then the more its productivity is going to go down, then the more its economy is going to be impacted. Some of that impact is going to show immediately, and some of it will show over time. That there was this space in time whereby there was 30 to 60 days, whereby everyone was basically told to go home, less productivity, the economy then suffers. And then on top of that, by the way, secondarily, since the world is so interconnected, so the more a country is developed and it's interconnected, or let me put it this way, actually, the more a country depends also on other countries, And for instance, we know that there are a lot of things that we depend on China for. And since China has been impacted, and then we are trying kind of like limiting things from China a bit, that then means all our businesses that, for instance, rely on supplies from China, then now are unable to easily get supplies from China in order for them to make their products, and they cannot find alternative suppliers, then that means those businesses will be impacted. So even though the virus may be in a country, let's say like South Africa, I know for a fact, for instance, within South Africa, we rely on China on a number of things, and even before the virus had come to South Africa, businesses that operated at that scale were already being impacted because they could not easily get supplies. So that's how this virus is going to impact. In fact, that's how this virus impacts and is going to continue impacting the economies for some time. Yeah.
All right. Okay, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna, yeah.
Yeah. It's quite correct that this is going to basically affect the economy of different countries, and at the very same time, it becomes a wake-up call for most of African countries on fully depending from the other countries, because we have been too much relying on things that are coming from African continent going out there. When they come back, now we have to go and buy them, of which we've never developed a scheme of doing things by ourselves. And with regards to the issue of the economy, one of the things that it is likely to be considered quickly, when people are out of work, which means the next thing that is about to replace humanity is the machines there, which means we are likely to jump to that as a quick fix due to the current situation where of areas where we find ourselves based on the current circumstances. That and that one is only simply saying it is hitting back home by simply saying there are things that we supposed to be producing, we supposed to be putting skill on doing things of our own. For instance, I'll give you an example. There are areas that we never consider of developing them. And the good part is, I'll go back again to the issue of Eastern Cape. We didn't hit anything. And these are some of the areas that we never considered to provide the industries and so forth. Which means as much as we look forward, we ought to say, let's not continue of putting our businesses in a central city type of that is already overpopulated. Let's try to distribute our resources in other areas. Because now we have concentrated most of the things towards the cities, and the cities, when they are in danger, which means those that are inland or in the surrounding areas, they are unable, because we've never developed a space whereby we distribute our resources. Should we have an impact there, we've got an area that can still be able to produce.
That's a critical point. So you are promoting, or you are, in fact, you are submitting that we should decentralize cities. For example, in South Africa, we're coming straight to South Africa now. You have these 4 industrial zones. You have Joburg and Pretoria, and then you have Durban, Pinetown, and then you have Uitenhage and Port Elizabeth, and then Cape Town. It seems as if most, when you talk about industrial complexes of South Africa, where the economy is run, it's run in those 4 areas. So it's an interesting point. Now, still in the same breath of developing countries, or developed countries, I'm sorry, you'll find that there is no production, there is no income, there is no outcome. Or the only outcome is paying people salaries. Number 1. Number 2, paying people their salaries, because you told them to go and stay at home. And then the second outcome, that is, output, is tax. The government doesn't stop taxing people just because there's an economic crisis. Isn't it so?
No. So long as you are receiving some income, you will be taxed.
So now I'm sitting here as a manager. I have a company in a developed country, and I'm like, no man, I'm not getting this anything in. There's a crisis here. So the best way for me is to retrench those people.
Which is most likely to take place.
Yeah, I must retrench them because I'm not getting anything. I'm just being taxed.
Oh no. Just to clarify, you only get taxed on your profits. Right?
Okay.
So it wouldn't be a matter of the government saying, even if you haven't been able to sell anything and as a result received an income, we are going to tax you still. The basis of tax is you are taxed on what you have made. It's similar to the idea of a tithe and offering within the context of the church. God does not expect you to return tithe when you have not produced anything. God does this funny video thing that I shared with you that's going on Facebook of this televangelist who seems to be very greedy. He's telling people that even what you are worried that you've lost your job. No. Your job is not what gives you
Not
money.
your source. It's not your source.
The source of your income is Jesus. Whatever you do, return your tithe. That's not how God operates, and that's not how SARS, which is our the American equivalent of the, what do they call it? I forgot what they call it in the US, but basically the agency that collects our tax. It's called I forgot what they call it, but basically the basis of it is that you must have gained something, you must have made some trade, produced something, sold it, or made a service and provided to someone and then received an income, and then you are taxed from that income. But to speak though to your point, at the end of this, there is some retrenchment that's going to take place. Because sadly, the way in which the world is heavily a capitalistic setup, and the way that capitalism runs is that in as much as everyone within the context of this crisis that we are facing is doing everything that they can, the message that is going out from world leaders, presidents of countries, etc., is that let's all try to not be selfish, let's try to work together. But the way that capitalism is set up, sadly, though capitalism has its advantages over other systems, it also has its disadvantages, and one of its greatest disadvantages is that it tends to be very selfish. It's all about get. So because of this, business